Welcome to the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast presented by Boss Girl Creative. This is episode number 478. Today, I am sharing 6 email list building strategies with you, so let's dive in. Hey, I'm Taylor Bradford, host of the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast presented by Boss Girl Creative. I help small business owners turn their purpose into a paycheck, and it starts with visibility. In the online world, visibility equates to sales. So if you're dreaming of being the next $1 million entrepreneur, you've come to the right place because weekly I share visibility tips, brand advice, and business resources. So grab a notebook, your favorite pen, and a beverage, and let's do the work. Hey, welcome to episode 478. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for being here. We're talking about email list building strategies, and I'm going to be sharing 6 with you today. Before we get there, let's find out what's been going on in the land of social media. Social media headline number 1, Meta retires celebrity-styled AI bots. Less than a year after the launch, Meta has decided to quietly retire its celebrity AI chatbots. Social media headline number 2, Meta explores celebrity-voiced AI chatbots. After the company's celebrity-faced bots didn't work, it is trying a different approach. Social media headline number 3, Instagram tests new Reels filter for posts with notes. Notes have proven especially popular with young users, which is why Instagram continues to provide new ways to engage with them. Social media headline number 4, X continues to highlight misleading stats about its performance. The platform hasn't added any daily active users since November 2022, although it has seen some growth in monthly active users. Social media headline number 5, U.S. Secretaries of State call on X to address election misinformation. In an open letter, the group has called for improvement to X's Grok AI chatbot. And finally, the 2024 election challenges have already begun. In a nutshell, there are websites being created that are challenging legitimate voter registrations, and it is something to be concerned about. So ultimately, what all this means is voters need to be proactive in protecting their vote as these apps and challenges gain speed. In short, you need to know your rights. First things first, check your voter registration or register here. And you can pop over to vote.gov, select your state, and then it will lead you for you to either register to vote or check your existing voter registration is still active. And that wraps up this week's social media headlines. Today's episode is brought to you by Dubsado, and I have been a Dubsado subscriber for over 5 years. Dubsado and me are like peanut butter and jelly, and it is really like up-leveled how I keep Sugar Creek organized. So Dubsado calls themselves a business management solution, but I actually think they are a client relationship management software. But either way you want to spin it, it will help you stay organized. It can help you with your invoicing. It can help send out contracts for signatures. It can help get you scheduled with your clients. Dubsado is so robust in helping you manage the day-to-day of your business. It is definitely something that you need to check out. Dubsado has offered my listeners a 20% off their first month or 20% off their first year of being a subscriber, being a member of Dubsado. And all you got to do is go to bossgirlcreative.com/Dubsado to take advantage of that offer. Like I said, I have been a paid subscriber of Dubsado since March of 2019, and it was such a game changer for me when I made that investment. And it is compared to the CRMs of the construction world, this is literally peanuts. What I pay for Dubsado is probably an eighth maybe a 16th of what I pay for my roofing CRM. Like my roofing CRM cost me almost, I think I'm around $600 a month. $600 a month. Let's see, let me just quickly grab a calculator, and 600 times 0.05. I pay less than 10% of that for Dubsado every single month. Like, what in the actual? If I could make Dubsado work for my roofing business, I would jump ship in a heartbeat. But I can't, because they're not like set up with our suppliers and all of that fancy mumbo jumbo. And my sales team each have logins and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, Dubsado, I love for creative entrepreneurs. I love for service-based businesses. If you are a custom product maker, you could totally use Dubsado for that. If you like get hired for one-offs or get hired for or whatever, I think product-based businesses could, really benefit from using Dubsado. It's not going to be your Etsy. It's not going to be your Shopify, that kind of thing. But if you have any kind of client relationship needs, Dubsado is going to be the software that you need. So again, bossgirlcreative.com/Dubsado. That's spelled D like dog, U like umbrella, B like boy, S like Sam, A like apple, D like dog, O like octopus. That's Dubsado, for you to take advantage of that offer, 20% off your first month or your first year. You definitely want to check it out. Okay, so let's talk about email list building strategies. I'm going to share 6 with you. So the very first question I want to ask you is, what is the size of your email list? Now, if you would have asked me this question a couple years ago, I would have given you a big number. But then, just like in last week's episode, I talked about time auditing, and I deleted a bunch of people off Facebook. I do that with my lists routinely. And when I made the pivot to the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur, I did an audit on my email list, which I am if you've been a fan of this show for any length of time and you've heard me talk about email list building strategies in the past, these things aren't new. Like what I'm sharing today is not new. I just hope that I share it in a way that you have aha moments. But I also talk about you keeping your list audited, because you can't sell to dead air. People not reading your emails doesn't do you any good. And most all of the email marketing platforms like MailChimp is who I use, System.io is one. You can use, there's Flowdesk, there's others that you can use for email marketing. But regardless, some of them have free tiers, and then when you get to X amount of contacts, then you come into a paid subscription. That's how it works. So once you're at that paid subscription level, you don't want to be paying for somebody that's not reading your emails, right? Or interacting with your emails. So you definitely want to maintain, whether it's once a year, every 6 months, you want to audit your list. And again, going back to me making that pivot with the podcast and coming in, speaking more to entrepreneurs and less to influencers and bloggers, not saying that influencers and bloggers are not going to get something out of this podcast, but because of my own life pivots and my own business pivots, I am speaking more to small business owners and creative entrepreneurs. So once I did that, I went into my email list and I'm like, wow, these people aren't reading and they're not even opening. So I don't need them on the list. So I made a massive cut and I basically started over, which starting over is so hard. Starting over, especially like on a social media platform, is hard. And if you've listened to the show over the last 6 months, you heard me talking about my social experiment. But starting your email list over is hard as well. But here's the difference between starting over on social media and starting over on your email list. You have no algorithm to trick or try to play or try to game. You own your email list. You own the people who say yes to being on it. So even if you have a small list or even if you're starting at 0, I want to encourage you to make it a priority for you to grow it. So let's start at number 1. Number 1 is you own your list. Like, you don't have an algorithm. You don't have a hope, wish, and prayer that somebody sees the email. Like, it is legitimately going to land in the inbox. Like, it's guaranteed. Now, it could land in spam, but it's still an inbox of sorts, right? It still landed where you intended it to go, the email, into the inbox. You just have to ask them to whitelist your email. But that's number 1. Number 1, you own your list. And I don't know if that sentiment alone should allow you to feel a little bit more free in your content planning initiatives, because you don't have an algorithm that you're trying to overcome. You don't have to yell and scream to be heard over the crowd. You can literally whisper, and your people will hear you. That's what's so great about email lists. Number 2, listen, people choose to be on your email list. They actually have to opt in. If you're buying a list, you need to stop that right now. Like, you legally can't do that if you're in the United States. It's against the CAN-SPAM Act, and you don't want to get in trouble with the federal government of the United States of America. So don't buy the dang lists. People have to legitimately give you permission to email them. And if you get their email for whatever means, like if you're out networking and you get the event list, you can email that person one time and say, hey, like personally email them. Do not put them in your list and then send them through your welcome sequence. Like, send them an email, say how you met, introduce yourself, and, make the pitch. Hey, I would love to continue chatting with you. Here's a freebie, whatever. Shoot your shot, but don't just add them, because that will ruin the email platform, the provider you're using. It could so hurt you if you play that game. So just don't play that game, right? Okay. So people choose to opt in. That is huge. Like, people can choose to follow you, but there's no guarantee that even your followers are going to see the content you work so hard to create. But they have a greater chance at seeing that content that you create that lands in their email. So this is huge. Plus, what's really awesome about growing an email list is you can segment them, you can tag them, you can put them into content buckets. So if you offer a variety of things that all serve the same person, but maybe the interests are different, you can put people into those buckets. And when you have an offer or when you have a freebie or whatever that serves that specific bucket, you can send them that email, right? You don't have to send an email to your entire list if you are serving a smaller portion of your list. That is so incredibly amazing, an amazing thing that you can do with your email list. Number 3, you have access to people who want to hear from you, and you can survey them. You can find out why they didn't purchase in your last launch. You can find out what hurdle are they currently struggling with? What gap is missing in the thing that you're connected to them for? Like, having access to people and hearing it in their own words will just help set you up for so much more success, because you're getting the words right out of their mouth. You are literally being able to take their struggles, their wins, their weaknesses, their strengths, and utilize the words that they're giving you to help you write better copy for your landing pages or for future content. This is huge. This is huge that you can survey them and get feedback. Whereas out on social media, that's really, really hard. We're all playing games. We're all trying to, be heard. So we're trying to either be the funniest or, lay home a point or, what have you. Okay, number 4, you get to serve your audience in a new way, and it allows you to build stronger relationships with them. Like having somebody respond back to you to an email that you send, like I have been really trying so incredibly hard to be more of a storyteller in my emails. So I went from like just being sporadic and sending an email a month, and then now I am sending at minimum 1 email a week. And it is way more storytelling than I've ever done in the past. And in the past, to be fair, I feel like I was following a trend of making it like magazine worthy. And I've stripped all that down. I started to strip all that down a while back ago, but I've really stripped it down. It's literally just text now. Occasionally I'll throw in a meme or whatever, but it's more about me telling a story to provide a stronger connection point from you to me. And I have been getting email responses that literally, like, I can't even tell you, they are highlights of my day, like true highlights of my day. And I am just giddy that I am triggering those email responses. It makes me feel like what I'm doing is finally working, which is a whole nother podcast coming soon. Okay, number 5, email is way more transactional. I mean, think about it. When you sign up for a brand's email list, you're looking for a coupon code, or you're looking for sales, or you're looking for deals, right? That is very transactional. You're saying, I'm giving you this in exchange for value. That is what email is. Social media is really more about entertainment and trying to get people into your sales funnel, aka your email list. But your email list is transactional, and we are now trained that that is what email is about. And so you have a greater chance at making revenue through your email list than you ever will out on social media, even with ads. So I beg you to work on growing your email list. And then number 6, finally, this is a fairly fast episode. Number 6 is it allows you to prime for a launch. Having an email list allows you to prime for a launch. And what does that mean? Well, you could be launching a membership. You could be launching a course. You could be launching a new product. You could be offering coupon codes. You could be offering access, to something VIP. Having a list allows you to slowly trickle out the information leading to the thing that you want the whole world to know about, but your email list gets to know about it first. That is a perk about having an email list. So let's recap. Number 1, you own your list. There's no algorithm to jump through a hoop for, right? And there's no wishing and hoping and praying it lands. You can stop screaming. You can whisper because people will actually hear you on your email list. Number 2, people actually choose to opt in. They actually want to give you their email. Now, hopefully that was because there's an exchange of value happening somewhere, whether they hear you on a podcast or watch a YouTube video or find you out on social media, and also whether or not you're offering them something in exchange, like something tangible in exchange for their email. But they are legitimately saying, here, speak to me. I want to hear from you. And they give you their email. Number 3, you can survey your audience through your email list, which will give you such incredible information. And do not ever be scared to ask why. Why did you not buy that thing? What could I have done differently? And allow people the opportunity to say, I wasn't ready. It wasn't for me. The price was too high, whatever it might be. You can even put it in like multiple choice selection so they don't feel like they have to have open-ended answers. Make things easy for people, right? Number 4, you get to serve your audience in a new way, which means you get to create stronger relationships. I feel like this is like the biggest piece to email list building is that you are able to create relationships. Number 5, email is way more transactional. Like that is just a known thing. And then finally, number 6, you have a launch pad. People primed for things that you're launching in the future. And that's also where kind of the surveying can happen. Like, let me know if you'd like to be on the wait list for the thing I'm working on. Like, you get to prime to see if the people on your list right now are even interested in the thing that you are thinking about creating. Like, use your email list to test things out. Like, this is a perfect place to A/B test. Like, you're not having to spend money. You already have them on your list. So, make wise decisions for your email list and for growing your email list. Okay, thank you for listening to this episode. Again, shout out to Dubsado. Listen, I promise you, I'm 5 years in. I feel like I'm a veteran at this point. 5 years in, I feel like I'm on my master's program with Dubsado. Grab your 20% off, whether it's your first month or your first year. Go to bossgirlcreative.com/Dubsado to take advantage of that offer. I promise you will not be disappointed. If you have questions about Dubsado, find me over on Instagram, ask me those questions. I can share screenshots so that you can see. I feel like Dubsado's got demos, so, you can go test them out, but go through my link so that you can get the 20% off your first month or your first year. Again, bossgirlcreative.com/Dubsado to take advantage. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this week. Hey, real quick before I go, I wanted to pop back in and say again, thank you so much for listening to this latest episode of the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast. I would so love a favor from you right now. Would you please share this episode with a friend or share it to your social media and tag me at bossgirlcreative? Oh my gosh, that would mean so much to me if you did that right now. Okay, I'll see you next week with a brand new episode.